Hey everyone, David here. Welcome to another WhatGear. Today I've got Vivo's budget phones to review. The Y70 and the Honor 9. No, that's the wrong box. And the Y70s, which is that. And you can't see it. That was disastrous. So just the other day, I reviewed the X51 5G from Vivo. Now Vivo are brand new to the UK smartphone market and they've got 3 phones out at the moment. The X51 5G, which is a great phone, the flagship, but the price does reflect that it's a flagship. £750 for that phone. But for that you do get some great technology such as the gimbal camera. You do get a fantastic screen. The Snapdragon 765G as well is a great chip because it gives you 5G. It's plenty powerful and it's not too power hungry. So battery life is also very good with that phone, but that £750 price tag might put a few people off. So in this video, I've got their budget range, which is the Y70 and the Y20s. Both of these phones are way cheaper than the X51 5G, so as a result, we don't get the same level of technology in them. The Y70 comes in at just over £200 and the Y20s comes in for £169. We'll start with the Y20s. Now, I've got good news and I've got bad news about this smartphone. The good news is that we've got a 5000 mAh battery, which just seems to last forever and ever. This is quite a low powered phone, so it doesn't use a lot of juice, and the large battery means that you've got great battery life, but it has micro USB connectivity. Huh? That's a big warning sign for me. If someone's trying to sell you a phone and it's got micro USB, I would say walk away. I mean, it really does. It's such a shame because it's actually a pretty good phone, you know. It's got the bare essentials to it. For £169 as well, it's not too bad, as long as you don't care about taking pictures too much. I mean, yeah, it's got macro camera, but it's really not anything to write home about. But the micro USB thing, I mean, I think I've got one micro USB cable left here, and I have had to save that one. I think it goes into, I think it's one of the toys. You know, it doesn't even go into a phone. So to see a brand new phone, all right, these phones come out in October this year. The last quarter of 2020, this phone was released and it has a micro USB connector. I hope that for 2021 going forward, companies kill the micro USB lead for phones. Dead, full stop. No matter, even if it costs £99, get rid of it. So it really would have been nice if this phone had USB-C. It is one of the only things that let it down for me. Now, the other 2 Vivo phones that I've got here, I've just upgraded to Android 11. This was the only one that didn't upgrade to Android 11. I did get the latest update, but it was still on Android 10. Now, that's not too much of a bad thing considering how much this phone costs. But for me, that is really the biggest problem that I have with this phone at all, is the software. It's just really sparse. I mean, the thing I loved about the software on the X51 FunTouch OS, other than the great name, FunTouch OS. Who doesn't want a bit of FunTouch OS? I know I bloody do.
You're a dirty old man, you know that?
From the highly customizable, always on display, to the notification lights, I liked all the changes that you could make to the UI in FunTouch OS. But the lower you go down the Vivo scale, the more of that stuff they take out. And by the time you get to the Y20s, there's hardly any customization there at all. Also, the camera software to me seems really sparse. There's hardly any shooting modes and it's just not an enjoyable camera to use, unlike the higher models with FunTouch OS. So I would have liked to have seen them try to bring more of those features to the camera software. Younger people tend to go more for these phones, so it would have been nice to have seen more effort going to the software to make the phone in general more fun to use. Instead, they seem to have gone for a more business type approach, a more bland approach, and I guess in a strange way that is this phone's appeal. What we have here is a phone for people who just want a phone, who don't care whether it's got a high refresh rate screen or if the pictures can take details of the moon, if the camera can take details of the moon. They don't care about that. They don't care if it's got a stylus or if it can instantly connect to their computer. If it could do that, they would never ever use it. I mean, admit it, there are millions of people like that who have no idea what their phone can do and furthermore don't care what their phone can do. They just want it to be able to do what they do. And this phone does this very well for a cheap price. Can I recommend it? You know what? With the price of the Y70 being so close to this, it is hard to recommend this. Now this is a much better phone. This is quite a good phone. It feels great in the hand. I love how thin and how light it is. It feels elegant and it looks elegant. This plastic back is a nightmare to film, but it actually looks really good. It is a mirror finish, but it's a slight cloud to that mirror finish. Fingerprint nightmare, but you know what, it is a beautiful looking phone. The camera bump again looks pretty good. I think with all the Vivo phones, they do make the cameras look nice. Even with the X51 5G with that massive gimbal camera, I mean, it looks a little bit odd, but it's still a great looking phone. This phone, we have all the buttons on the right hand side. Underneath we've got the speaker, the USB-C type port and a headphone jack, which is always good to see. And the SIM ejection, the SIM area is at the top. Nothing, just smooth aluminium on the left side. And it's a nice looking phone. The main difference is it has the nice flat screen, and I think in many ways I do prefer how this feels in the hands to the X51. The screen, I like the X51, you're just getting a normal IPS LCD screen with a normal refresh rate, but you know what, it's a very good quality screen. I find the colors to be really vibrant, the brightness is good. I'm happy with the screen that you get in the Y70. With the price relatively close to the Y20s, I think this is a really good buy if you're in the market for a budget phone. If you've got a little bit more to spend than the £169 for the Y20s, then it's definitely worth looking at this. You get a better screen, you get better sound, you get a better camera. The camera is a bit hit and miss for me because the hardware and the software are pretty good when it comes to taking photos. I quite like the images that I'm getting from this camera. I had quite a lot of fun using it. The bokeh shots were quite accurate and pleasing, but there's not enough variety in the software. There's not enough shooting modes. There's not enough fun stuff that you can do with the camera. And I always think that with low price phones, they need to go in with the camera software like they did with the Poco phone X3 NFC that I reviewed the other day. That's got a lot of cool shooting modes in there that young people are going to want to use to make Instagram posts or whatever, Facebook posts, whatever. This doesn't really have none of that. It's a bit boring like that, but the hardware is pretty good. I mean, it's a 48 megapixel triple camera system. There's no ultra wide angle lens, which does let it down a little bit, but you get nice results. With the Y70, you don't get a side mounted fingerprint scanner, you get an in-display fingerprint scanner, which works just as well as the big X51 5G as well. Battery life is great, no problems with the battery life. This one will definitely get you through the day and well into the next one as well. Plus you've got 33 watt fast charging, which is pretty fast. It's not the super duper speeds that we're seeing with the highest end flagships at the moment, but 33 watts is pretty fast and will get you charged up pretty quickly. I know I keep banging on about the hand feel, but to me that is a very important part of any phone because, well, it's in your hand all the time. It's got to feel nice, and the way they've made this, it's very slender, it's elegant. It just feels really nice to use, you know. And obviously you've got the gestures. It's Android 11 now, this one, so, and the gestures are just perfect. It's a nice phone to use, and I do like FunTouch OS. This one is pared back a little bit when compared to the X51 5G, and I don't understand why they do that. I mean, when I mean pared back is that they have less customization in this one than they do in the more expensive model. Now it's the same operating system, so I don't see why that needs to be the case. And it's just things like the always on display, which is great in the X51 5G. You've got so much customization, so many different widgets and stuff that you can use there. But on this one, that's scaled right back and you only have a few, and then, you know, there's less icon styles to choose from and so on and so on. I don't kind of get why they need to do that. For me, those things make the phone a little bit more fun to use, a little bit more engaging. So it would have been nice to have seen a similar level of detail to the software in this phone than there is to the flagship, and that does go for the camera software as well. I know I mentioned it with the Y20s because it really is almost all the shooting modes. I think there's like 4 shooting modes underneath the more tab in that phone, but they've done it here as well, but to a lesser degree. And I get that the camera's less capable, but that's no excuse for removing fun shooting modes that are going to get people using the camera for fun, for Instagram posts, for things like that. Because let's face it, that's pretty much all we're going to be doing for the next few months, as none of us have anywhere to go. Overall, with the two Vivo phones, I'm kind of disappointed with the Y20s, but I'm really impressed with the Y70. And considering the difference in price between the two, it's a no-brainer. Save the extra money. It's really not that much more money. Save the extra and go for the Y70 if you were interested in these phones. Don't get me wrong, this is still a good device, but there are others in the market that will give you more for your money, and just save the extra and get the Y70 if you really want a Vivo phone. Definitely worth checking out if you're in the £200 price bracket. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I will catch you in the next video.